His Excellency Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Thank you very much.
Be seated and first, I apologize. I think we've taken longer than we ought to have taken. And I'll take you from what my brother C.S. Mbadi has done. I'll also not read a speech, because we all know what needs to be done. The problem with the developing world is we like talking to ourselves and talking all the time. We have very few people doing things, and we know what we need to do. And every speaker who comes here will just say the same things. The same things. I will share. I have given myself maximum 20 minutes, which I want to share equally with the governors. Because I thought it's also important for a forum like this for each of the governors to say something in a minute or two. And I hope they will not read speeches like the ministers did. Yeah, because this is not the time. Every governor has an opportunity to speak for 3 hours, 2 hours, every day in your county and organizing forums. So allow me just to say, therefore, now that I don't have a speech, I feel very honored to be part of this meeting. I have come here to represent President Ruto, who sends his greetings. He would have wanted to come. He was in Nyanza recently, he was in Western recently, and he thought because he hasn't been to Northeastern since he became president, it was important to spend some time in Northeastern. He's been there for 4 days, he's concluding today in his... And you'll allow me, exactly 2 o'clock I have to leave, because again I have to see him off. He's leaving for Dar es Salaam because of the Congo issue. The IIC and SADC is meeting today, tomorrow in Dar es Salaam. Having said that, mine is just to thank you for a good conference, well organized, well structured. We expected this from Nyanza, the headquarters of professionals and professors and very intelligent people. God has blessed this region with brilliant people who have impacted tremendously to the development of our country. So this is a good conference. I plead with you next time, and let's not blame each other, involve more leaders, members of parliament from here, the members of county assembly, and even representatives of community, people who may not be very learned, but they can pick an issue or two from a conference like this one. Having said that also, let me just spend the remainder of my minutes explaining what this administration is doing to revive and transform the economy of Kenya, empower its citizens, including its citizens in Nyanza. We have a manifesto with about 168 commitments, but you can aggregate all those commitments to 5 broad areas which carry the weight of our national transformation. The first one is macroeconomic stability. For the last 2 years, a lot of unseen work has been done to arrest the volatility of the indicators of macroeconomic stability. We can talk about investments, we can talk about all these sectors, but if the fundamentals of macroeconomic stability go haywire, we lose everything. Many a times, for those of us who are from Kenya Kwanza political alignment, when we speak about the last 2 years' work on macroeconomic stability, sometimes we are misunderstood as if we are casting aspersions at the previous administration. Nothing can be further from the truth than that. What affected Kenya's macroeconomic stability was mainly the pandemic of 2020-2021, which was a global pandemic. For a year and a half, we were all shut in, we were simply locked up in our houses. There was no economic activity. Businesses were shut. You can imagine, in my previous role, the last 2 years as the Interior Minister, when we used to have a little problems, what I would call democratic stress, sometimes in our exercise of democracy, especially here in Kisumu, but also Nairobi and other parts of the country, businesses being shut in Kisumu or Nairobi for a day, if you quantify the economic cost, it's huge. So you can imagine Kenya being shut for a year or a year and a half. That is what put us in a hole. It is not the previous administration. It was something beyond the control of any government. Today, the indicators of macroeconomic stability are looking okay, thanks to the hard work of Professor Ndungu, PS Kithure, and the senior team in Treasury, because it is about the strength of the shilling. It is about interest rates. It's about inflation. It is about the cost of fuel. It is about the cost of food and other household commodities. If those 5 variables are escalating, it doesn't matter what economic interventions you make, the country's transformation will be delayed. And therefore, I want to take this opportunity to thank CS Mbadi and the team and the Treasury. They have done a tremendous job in the last few months to steady and build on what has already been done. And I want to plead with you, my brother, CS Mbadi, and you know you have the support of President Ruto, and all of us, your colleagues, we support you. Do whatever it takes to make sure that the stability and the strength of the Kenyan shilling, interest rates, inflation, cost of fuel, and cost of food and essential commodities do not reverse, because we will lose everything, whatever it takes. So that is the foundation. And people don't see these abstract things, because it's like building a house. You first to dig the foundation. Anybody passing by will not see anything. But a lot of work needs to be done. Sometimes you dig many feet, many meters downwards, so that you can be able to put up a high-rise building. Number 2, if we keep an eye on the macroeconomic stability, we must transform the sectors that carry the value chains from where the majority of the people of Kenya derive their income and livelihoods. I repeat, if the macroeconomic stability is guaranteed, the next issue for us in this region and for Kenya is to make sure the national government and county governments transform positively the sectors which carry 80–90% of the people of Kenya from where they derive their livelihoods. These are sectors in agriculture, the value chains in agriculture, livestock development, the blue economy, and mining, period. If you look at how many Kenyans get their daily bread from some form of agriculture, some form of livestock or pastoral, livestock-related economic activity, fisheries and the blue economy, you'll have touched Kenya almost entirely. That's why we are working on sugar. Time will not give us to tell you the milestones you've made in sugar, tea, coffee. We are working on rice, cotton, all these value chains, the oil crops, etc., cotton and so forth. And then you go to livestock, the entire northern Kenya, upper, eastern. You go to blue economy, the entire coastal counties and Lake Victoria counties in Western and Nyanza areas. And then mining in between there, because mining is quite a precious part of the real sector that can take the country to the next level. So if we transform those sectors, where the majority of the people of Kenya derive their livelihoods, we are good to go. We have our priorities, we need what we need to do. Between national government and county governments, we know what interventions are pending. Number 3, our priority in this administration is to transform and improve the support infrastructure that realizes this transformation of the sectors which I have already identified. What is the support infrastructure that helps us transform agriculture and livestock and fisheries and blue economy and mining? It is roads, it is electricity, or P&I, it is ICT, okay? It is the infrastructure we are building to support businesses. The infrastructure we are creating to support the micro and small and medium enterprises. It is the KIPES that we are establishing, one per county, the county aggregation and industrial parks. It is the special economic zones, the 5 of them that we are racing against time to not only complete but also operationalize. It is the affordable and social housing program. That infrastructure, ICT, the KIPES, the special economic zones, water, electricity, ICT, will help revitalize these value chains that bring wealth to the people of Kenya. Number 4, it is job creation. We have all said in so many words that one of the challenges we must confront as leaders of Kenya at all levels is the need to empower, especially the youth, by creating more jobs. Alfred and the team there, and the county government, I'm sure, are doing a good job as well. And we are attacking joblessness and job creation from all fronts. You've heard Alfred summarize it, kazi kwa ground. Any work available, even if it's a short-term job, is better than no job at all. Even if it's a job for a month or 2 months or 6 months or a year, is better than no job at all. Because by the time that young person finishes under the affordable and social housing programs, there will be either another project or another job opportunity somewhere. Instead of our youth spending times in marketplaces, waiting to be paid 100 shillings by a politician to heckle their rival. We are creating jobs through the ICT, online jobs, digital jobs, kazi mtandaoni, and then we have programs for creating jobs abroad. Our young people want to travel, work abroad, save, invest it, and also come back in the country later on, are welcome to go and venture there and work, because there are people born in Kisumu, but they work in Mombasa. They are still sons and daughters of Kisumu. They come home maybe at the end of the year. What is the difference between a son or a daughter of Kisumu working in Mombasa and the one working in London and Dubai? They all come home at the end of the year. And maybe the fellow from London or Dubai may get here faster and quicker than the person working in Mombasa or Lamu, for that matter. So job creation is a big item, and we are leaving nothing to chance. If you can create a few more jobs, it is better, because you're reducing the numbers of young people who feel frustrated because we have not created enough opportunities for them. We are also creating jobs through the housing program, the climate works program. We are still hiring in the public sector. We are expanding the private sector to accommodate more jobs. And we are also having programs like the programs we are having under Nyota, under the youth ministry and others. Time will not allow me to enumerate everything. The last pillar of transforming Kenya in the shortest time is in the software that delivers on the 4 issues I have mentioned. I said macroeconomic stability, I also talked about value chains that carry the majority of the people in terms of incomes and wealth. Number 3, it is the support infrastructure in the many ways I've explained. Number 4 is job creation. Lastly, for us to realize our destiny as a nation, as a region, as counties, as Kenya, we must take 2 social variables very important. One is health, and the other one is education. If you have an educated, healthy population, then all the other pillars will be realized. That's why this administration is going out of its way to ensure that the universal health coverage for Kenya, Taifa Care, works. Many countries across the world have struggled with universal health coverage with very limited success. Even in the United States, when they succeeded with Obamacare, the Supreme Court moderated what it would have become. It's not an easy thing. But this government is persuaded that you need a healthy population, and we are spending a lot of money, and middle class is almost getting impoverished because of Harambes, because of relatives who are doing Harambes. People and families are selling property, they are selling cars, they are selling land to finance health. We need more people with an insurance card, a health insurance card. It may be less than perfect, but it's better than no card at all. We are working on perfecting the imperfections in Taifa Care, but it's better that way than a person who has no access to any medical cover. We had 9 million Kenyans who are insured since independence until now. In the last 3 years, in the last 3 months, we have doubled the number of people who now have some form of health insurance to 18+ million Kenyans. We want to scale up that to 30, 40, 50 million. It's not easy. President Kibaki had this in his manifesto. The same politics hit that program and frustrated it. He pulled back. President Uhuru in his second term had the same, the Big Four agenda. UHC was one of them. The same politics came and truncated the program. President Uhuru pulled back. This time round we have said we will fight through to make sure we get universal health coverage through, even at the expense of our popularity. If that is what will affect the popularity of President Ruto, so be it. Because what defines a leader is not how many hours or days or years they have been in office. Is the take-home, what they leave behind when they leave office after a certain number of years. So we are very clear in our minds that that is a national priority, and also education reforms. That's why we are strengthening CBC, we are investing in more teachers, and we are also addressing funding of higher education to make sure that as many as possible of the children of Kenya get access to affordable, relevant, quality education. So those are our priorities. Everything in between, we will do it. We've had what are the priorities for this region. The 2 dams, one here between Kericho and Kisumu, the other one in Nyamira, Magwagwa Then there are some flagship factories like the sweet potato one in Korea. I was taking notes, and I take notes everywhere I go, because that's the only way you are able to at least account. I must account for coming here, and I must carry home what the people of Nyanza want from national government. Between myself and my colleagues, cabinet colleagues, and the entire team, I want to promise you, the 9 or so priorities which have been repeated here, the ring road, I don't know, the 2 dams, the factory, the abattoir, we will go out of our way to make sure that we do them. So that we can now, even if we don't achieve everything, we can say we've done this percentage of the commitments we had made. With those many remarks, I declare this conference officially open on behalf of President Ruto. And I want to request Professor Nyang'nyong'o, my academic senior and former colleague in the Senate, who is now Governor of Kisumu,